And then, I mean, if we play football from 1930s and see it just keeps going back and forth, but why do you think that football hasn't developed as much as a lot of people would have wanted? Because in even some West African countries, when they play football, the stadium is packed. They've got the traditional teams over 40 years old, but we don't have it here.
Yes, well, just to be clear, the book ends in 1960, so I don't explore that in the book. But I mean, you know, I think the problem here is that most of the domestic club teams are owned by state governments, and because of that, you know, they're used for different reasons, and so I think the popularity and the investment in the local game has gone down. I mean, but if you look at some of the great teams of the past, you know, stationary stores, or the, you know, Plateau United or Mighty Jets of the 1970s. Or even Enyimba, you know, a decade ago. I mean, these teams had radical supporters, and I think we need to bring that back. I think the Football Federation is actually doing a lot to return the game to that kind of stature domestically. But I think as Nigerians, we also need to stop spending so much time supporting Arsenal and Chelsea and Man City, and support our own clubs, and wear their jerseys and wear their merchandise and all that kind of thing. Because it's both the organization of the game, but also the fans that I think have a responsibility to put more attention on the local game.
Okay, let's come back to where we are today. I know everybody's talking about the World Cup and preparations for the World Cup, and we are going to the World Cup. You've looked at our team. You've seen some of those games that we've played. What's your assessment of our team?
Well, let me start with, I think the most important thing is this time around we're organized. If you even remember the 2016 Olympics, when the team was struggling to find a flight to Brazil and got there 6 hours before, all of that is gone. And you get a sense from the way it is in camp and everything like that, that just the players are relaxed. They're not worrying about bonuses. They're not worrying about how they're going to fly to the next location. Everything is taken care of and very well organized. Even the plan for the friendlies was already released in January, and it's been followed to the T. I mean, I remember when that came out, and we thought, are they really going to play in Wembley? Are they really going to play, you know, all of these games? And everything has actually happened as planned. So I think that part of it, I think, you know, the administration of football, I think, has improved such that the players now only have to worry about their performance on the pitch. They're not worrying about squabbles and money and all of this kind of thing. So I think once that problem is taken away, now I think the players can focus. So I think that's 50% of the journey there. The other is, I mean, you know, I think the team, it's a good, solid team. I think Roar has built a nice mix of homegrown players plus, you know, some players that have been raised abroad and have grown up in different systems, and he's blended that together. So you have a mix of kind of that European approach and the African approach, and I think he's blended that well. But I think the one thing we do have to realize as a country is that we don't actually have that many really big stars. Victor Moses is the only player we have that plays regularly for a top European side. The rest of the players are either playing for lower level teams, as in, you know, they're not the top teams in their leagues, or they're mostly on the bench. And so I think, you know, in light of that, you know, we don't have that, you know, handful of, you know, 5, 6, 7 superstars. We have one kind of star, and then the rest of them are very talented players who our success is going to depend on how well they play together and how much they gel as a team. I think the good thing is that stability that has been created means that gelling has happened, and you see that the coach is, you know, he's kind of picked a group of players and he's stuck with them. So.
You know, a lot of people identify with Nigeria's team that went to Atlanta and then US World Cup match, and so they think that to them that's what they know about Nigeria's style of football. You know, the wing play, the speed that Nigeria had at the time. But at the time, when some of these materials you have in the book, was there a football philosophy at that time? And is it something that we just glossed over, I just loved the game, I just kept on playing the game without really paying so much attention to developing football philosophy for Nigeria?
Yeah, no, I never really saw either in the archival material or in the interviews with old players that there was a specific kind of Nigerian philosophy to how to play. I think there was, you know, at all times there was this sort of focus on, is it a bit stylish? Is it a bit, you know, the speed and all that I think was always there. But there wasn't a, this is the Nigerian way of playing that we saw. The passion was there, but not necessarily that there was, you know, this is the Nigerian style and that is continued to today. I didn't see that.
So is that something you think we should actually consider? Because when we have different coaches, they seem to come with their style, their philosophy, and then just give us good football without us saying, look, this is the way we want to be identified as how Nigeria plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but I think in the end of the day, every coach basically comes to the same result. I mean, it's the speed and the style, I think. And if you take that away, you know, the team just won't function. I mean, if you look at when, like Brazil, for example, which is also known for that type of play, when Dunga was the coach and he killed all of that, I mean, Brazil looked like it was boring, right? And I think for Nigeria, you know, we want the team to win, but we also want them to win with style. And yeah, if they can emulate some of what the 94 and the 96 and 98 teams did, and I think they can, I think this is going to be a fun World Cup. And I think what's exciting also is that there's a lot of, the world is sort of, you know, coalescing around Nigeria as like their sort of dark horse team. You know, Roma.
Is that not going to put us under pressure?
I don't know. I think it's more just giving the right kind of attention. I mean, Roma's adopted Nigeria. I saw that. I think Ireland has also. Because they said they also wear green and they drink more Guinness than us. So therefore, Ireland has also adopted Nigeria. And you know, you see that all over. And then also the excitement around the jerseys and how that created a buzz globally. Yeah. I think that was exciting. I think the flip side of that buzz over the jerseys is if you saw the first half of the game in Wembley, when they were wearing the jerseys, it's almost like they thought it was like a Black Panther jersey, that all they had to do was put it on and then they would become super players, and it didn't work. So I think, you know, but it's exciting to see the excitement around Nigeria, because globally Nigeria does have generally a negative reputation, and this is one where I think it's really good to see the world loves something Nigerian.
About the match we played, and particularly about this team now and the style of Raw, it looks, I stand corrected, or maybe we'll get your opinion on this. Which style do you think suits us, 3-5-2, 4-4-2? Because in that game, when we tried the 4-4-2 first half, we saw how it went. And then when we flipped to 3-5-2, we saw how it went as well. Yeah. But he spoke about 3-5-2 as well when he was in Uyo during the qualifiers. And that seemed to give us some results. So is our style, or for this particular team, 3-5-2, or do we adopt both and see which one plays, or diamond, whichever way?
Well, look, I think my only concern with whatever we play is that we have an untested goalie, and so I would put a little bit more investment on defense, and I don't know if that means that then it's going to, you know, reduce the impact of the wing play and all that, but I think that's something that I'm sure the coach is very much taking into account. So probably having 4 defenders is important, at least in the beginning, while they grow in confidence. And then it could be, you know, like in the game against England, where then they changed at halftime and then kind of took off. But by that point, the goalie had a bit of confidence and the defense had sort of figured it out.
So. But, you know, there are different schools of thought. Some say this is a team for the future. Others think, well, if they're this young, why don't they go in there and get us beyond the group stage?
Yeah,
While some others think, look, let's just enjoy the match. Don't put no particular target. What do you think?
Well, you know, it's almost... I think it's an excuse when teams say, you know, like every tournament, oh, this is a tournament, a team for the future. We're targeting the next tournament. Well, by the time the next tournament, those guys will be gone, and you'll have another set of young players. And you know, we said that in 2002 that this was a team of the future, and then they didn't even qualify in 2006. So I think this is a team of the present. You know, you have the experience of Mikel and Onazi, I think, which is really good, especially Mikel's experience and what he brings. And then you have, you know, guys like Moses and Iwobi, and then the Wiebe wall. These are all guys who kind of grew up in European systems and European leagues, and they have that, you know, that sort of tactical awareness. And then you blend that with just some of the younger guys who kind of have come through more recently. You get a lot of excitement. But it's strange to think that someone like Ehinacho, who's, what is he, 20, 21, you almost see him as a veteran. Or we have, you know, Ahmed Musa. I think he's only, 26 now, and this is his 3rd World Cup.
And he still got his speed.
And he still got his speed, yes. So I think this is a team of the present, and let's hold them accountable for something special now. I don't want to wait till 2022.
But, you know, we still have this, we're training in Austria for the match against the Czech Republic. How should we respond to friendlies, especially when we play and we lose? Because I know, of course, there's a lot of emotion with football. Okay, we need to go to break. We'll come back to this in just a moment.
All right.
Don't go away.